camera this home, but so that was just us like with his phone. That was like a one time only. All of these were just kind of off the tops of our heads. Every once in a while, the poof would be supplemented by a fake thing. And then, now I have long, luxurious red hair. I can't have long, luxurious red hair because the character of Grace has long, luxurious red hair. So now I have wigs, and so it's a wig, except sometimes when it's up, it's my hair pulled up, sprayed brown, which is so gross, and then there's a poof on top. So it's kind of combo.
Copy that.
It has like skin and then tissue and bones. It's just all one solid mass. And so for me to give him a back rub, like my little fingers just like break off and fall onto the floor.
Okay, we need a pillow under the bottom.
Yeah, because you don't want to be, you know.
Okay. Next question is an exclamation. You guys need to look at your grammar skills. Love the photos. The fuck is that?
5 years. Job in the world, it's the best character in the world, and I like having a job. So please watch the show so that I can continue to have a job. Thank you.
I will.
We watched it last night. It premiered last night. Did you guys watch it? I believe half of you.
Pretty goddamn funny. I don't want to get too intimate or into your private situation. Yeah. I was talking to Meredith. One vast difference between us is that, if anything, I'll remember like enough of a dream. Like I don't think I've ever reported a dream. What did you do tonight? Well, we saw these two TV people lay in a bed and talk about puzzles.
That's terrible.
Many of you stayed this whole time, which I take as a compliment. Our final question of the evening, and I'll also, before we do, I'll say thank you so much again to the gang for having us, and to Revivals for this juicy-ass bed that will now be for sale. Might want to take a squeegee to it.
Not on my side.
Megan and Nick, in this divisive and tumultuous world, what is the importance of creating peace and understanding?
Smelling the flowers on the bed. Well, that's the only thing that matters right now.
Why should you make art?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the only thing that really, no matter what we all do for a living, I think we all have something to offer just by the way that we lead our lives and treat the people in our lives. And in Taoism, they say that the key is to, rather than trying to go out and conquer the world and rally and raise a hue and cry, the main thing you should do is correct your own sphere. So you don't have to be out, you don't have to be like, Jennifer Lopez or like rival.
Hey.
You don't have to be. You don't have to be doing something flashy. It's as long as you, in your own daily lives, are doing the best you can and living consciously and treating people in a loving way and with kindness. I think that's the best way to go about your life.
It's well said, and just by way of completion, I'll piggyback slightly on that. I was brought up, I was taught to have good manners by my parents, and that has served me very well. Everything I've ever done, people remark on it, especially in show business. The first time I had a movie job, and I said please and thank you to the wardrobe lady, and I thought she was going to start crying.
Oh yeah, or if you hang up your costumes.
If you treat everyone, it's this crazy idea. If you treat everyone with respect, as though we're all the same,
We are.
Yeah, you'll be astonished at the reactions that you get, and so that's. I always like to say we're all in this together because it's true, but also to always remind myself of it. And it has become really apparent in our country's politics that it's come down to just realizing we need to reinstitute good manners into our government. It's simply lost the capacity for decency, and so I'm grateful for the wake-up call, and hopefully we can find the handle to give the appliance a good flush. Start with a clean bowl.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're so happy you're here.
Thank you. Have a great night. Get home safe. Blown straight out of our asses.
Yes. Much better. Are we going to answer some questions now?
Well, we can, but we had talked about that other idea.
Oh.
Do you want to try that other idea?
Yeah, let's try it. We haven't done this yet.
I think I saw some rose hip in here.
So the idea, in fact, was that we would take a topic from one of you guys, and then we would improvise a chapter.
Yeah.
It'd be just puzzles.
Buzzard puzzles? What the fuck are
Let's do puzzles.
those? Okay.
Okay. So the next topic is puzzles. All right, Nick, how do you feel about puzzles?
I feel
Specifically, jigsaw puzzles.
yes, of course. I mean, puzzles of all kind capture my heart, but specifically jigsaw puzzles I've grown to revere for the place they hold in our lives. How do you feel about puzzles?
Really good.
With the knowledge of sort of both of those dynamics, for me, I'm such a huge fan of Megan's, and she is a legend to me. And so when suddenly we got to be this comedy team when we were playing Ron and Tammy, it was like whoever you think is the funniest person, suddenly they're like, okay, you're a pair, don't laugh.
And it's easier, I think, to say Karen Walker. Like, imagine doing a scene with Karen Walker where she's standing with her boobs against your arms, boobs up and down on your arms.
That's not scripted. Just doing it to try to get him. So I got him a lot.
It worked. We're very lucky. I kind of feel like...
Are you uncomfortable?
No, I
We're
just...
literally... Oh, that's true. Oh, that's nice.
This is more comfortable than I was. Next question. How do you stay so healthy? Exercise? Eat or not eat certain foods?
Well, the main thing we love to do is lay on the couch and watch television or do puzzles. But the way we stay in shape is we do leg lifts while we're doing book events and answering questions from the audience. We do circles, and that's how we do it.
Thank you so much. We couldn't present a series like this evening without the second season of Palm Springs Speaks. And we want to thank you all for coming. Of course, I'm blind as a bat with that red light in my eyes now, so I know you're out there in the dark, so be kind to me. There you go, thank you, that's nice. We had extra long intros, we waited for the intro music, so I apologize for that too. That's what you get for ambiance. I'm Ron Willison, this is Gene Case, Library Director of the Palm Springs Public Library. And we're both on the planning committee for Palm Springs Speaks.
Palm Springs Speaks is a speaker series started last year. For our first season, we were fortunate to have hosted Dan Savage, Vice President Al Gore, Deepak Chopra, and author Lisa Scott-Aline. However, we could not have started the speaker series without the support of our benefactor sponsors, the Palm Springs Cultural Center and the Friends of the Palm Springs Public Library. I'm going to ask representatives from those groups to please join us on stage now. Please welcome Kathy Weir from the Friends of the Palm Springs Library and Linda McAllister from the Palm Springs Cultural Center. Performance by a female actor in a comedy series, winning 3 times, as well as receiving 4 Golden Globe Award nominations. Megan performs in the band Nancy and Beth, though no one will say which is Nancy and which is Beth. Nick Offerman is an actor, writer, comedian, and woodworker who is best known as Ron Swanson in the NBC sitcom Parks and Recreation, for which he received the Television Critics Association Award for Individual Achievement in Comedy. Offerman is also known for his role in The Founder, in which he portrays one of the McDonald brothers who developed the fast food chain McDonald's. He most recently just finished hosting the first season of NBC's Making It with Amy Poehler. Nick and Megan, I know, I love it. Nick and Megan met in the year 2000 while working on a play together. He was sleeping in a friend's basement. She had just completed her second season of Will and Grace, a match made in heaven. You are going to hear all about this tonight, I am sure. One of my favorite things about them is that they like to listen to audiobooks while doing jigsaw puzzles. This is exactly how I imagined the celebrity lifestyle. I am so excited for you to hear about how this power couple met and stayed in love for so many years. They just celebrated their 15th wedding anniversary. She is from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. He is the grandson of the former mayor of Paducah, Illinois. Please welcome Megan Mullally and Nick Offerman.
Good evening. That's a good level.
Hi. The way we wrote the book was we laid in bed and we just would pick a topic and then start talking into the tape recorder on Nick's phone. So we decided that we would recreate that for you tonight.
If
It
you
was
ever,
just about as exciting as this is right now.
yeah, if you ever thought about becoming an author, this is what it looks like.
What's that pose you're doing? That's very provocative.
That's my Henry Miller right there.
We also have a sign at the foot of our bed that says the bed was provided by Revivals.
It says this bed was provided by Revivals. Every goddamn dollar you spend at this store goes straight to the Desert AIDS Project, and that's amazing.
Our bed is also strewn with roses at all times. This is so beautiful, right?
This is. I forget what it is we're supposed to be doing here.
I know, I feel like maybe it's don't fall asleep.
I'm gonna go foot out. You guys are down, right? We'll start with some skin. So we wrote this book, and then we came to Palm Springs, and you guys all came out to the high school auditorium, which is pretty goddamn nice. This is nicer than many big city theaters I've worked in. There we go.
It stays in.
And I think I think we should start off by talking about how this book came to be.
Okay. Well, let me try to put one more in. Because it's really fun. You guys don't understand how satisfying that is.
What the hell is so fun?
This thicket, this thatch of beard, I swear it's uncanny. His beard grows all the way up. There's no break. Like it goes all the way up to his lip and then all the way around. There's no skin anywhere
I
around.
have to
his
shave my
mouth.
lip actually on
He had
Sundays.
one piece of beard coming out of his lip the other day. Like one strand. It was gross. He was like, look. I was like, I don't really want to look, but thanks.
I'm gonna have to sit up because I'm robbing Julie over there on the corner
Yeah, we want to see all of
with
you.
my Ursine features.
So the book came about because Nick has written 3 other books that were very successful, and around the time 1.5 books in, we started in on social media. Nick had a little bit of a head start. I started a little bit later, and when I started, I post, at some point I posted a photo of me and Nick, and everybody really liked it. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And then that continued to be a thing. And then it was brought to our attention that certain people had written long, exhaustive, incredibly well-researched, I don't even know how they got some of the information, articles about documenting our relationship from the very inception up through, whatever year it was, 2015 or something. And so we thought, And so at a certain point, I said, well, why don't we write a book together? And Nick said, no. And I said, yeah, but it seems like people kind of like our relationship, and it's kind of been almost mythologized to the point of, the ridiculous. And he went, no. And I said, well, it could be about our relationship. And he said, I don't get it. So then, about 2 years later, that went on for 2 years, and then about 2 years later, we were with his editor, Jill Schwartzman at Dutton. Now my editor too. And I brought the idea up, and she said, "Oh, that's such a great idea! Wow!" And Nick said, "Yeah, isn't it?" So good. I believe I thought of that. So that's how it started.
So, everything in our house is generally a good idea. These pajamas, for example, that came out of Megan's head. She's the picker in our family, and I carry the luggage, and yeah, I'm the grinner. We get along well. And so we came up with this list of chapter ideas. I was never told in advance what the chapter was, because I am famous for packing a lunch, as they say in our business.
Front loads.
And so we would get in any of a number of beds around the country, and
Yeah, while we were on tour.
some in London, I think, did we also?
Sure.
And Megan would say, let's record a chapter. And so just in the voice recorder on my phone, we would record these conversations, which then we realized captured the dynamic of our relationship better than anything else we could write. And so that became the meat of the book.
Yeah, we sent the recordings to our editor thinking, well, this will just be like a jumping off point. And then, but it felt really good while we were recording them. And then she got back to us and said, yeah, just, if it ain't broke. So we decided to do it that way. So it's kind of interview magazine style. So we were going to kind of take you through some of the photographs that we did for the book. There's a front cover, which you see right here. And there are 9 chapters in the book, so there are 9 photographs before each chapter. Then there's a back cover, so we're going to show you all of those. So this one's pretty self-explanatory. It's just the usual. It's me and Nick buried in a giant mound of roses. We do that a lot. When we have a setup like that in our backyard, it makes us feel good. What you doing?
Getting our props.
Oh, I missed you. All right, so Nick's gonna read we're very codependent. Nick's gonna read the chapter titles, which are actually, the chapter titles are little sentences or parts of sentences from within each chapter, but each chapter has a topic.
Chapter 1, the story of how we met.
Wahoo!
These are meant to be serious.
What they're laughing about. We were 6 and 7 years old. We're understandably nervous and feeling a little awkward.
Yeah.
But, I admire Nick for having the gumption to pursue me thusly.
I got out of the Navy, and thank God I showed up with 1 flower.
The youngest person to ever join the Navy. I wish you could, probably can't really see because we're blocking it, but those knees, oh my God. I'm talking about yours.
Thank you.
Okay, so, should we do chapter 2?
Chapter 2. You're just trying to get in on the action because your family is like a Norman Rockwell painting.
So, I don't know if you can guess from this photograph, but this was the chapter about families, and Nick's family is the most idyllic, little cartoon, adorable, amazing.
The Waltons came to us for advice.
Yeah. And my family are scattered throughout institutions across the world. So, there's a slight teeny weeny difference between the 2 upbringings. Also, should I say, so I got the opportunity, it kind of just happened and unfolded in that way, but I got the chance to design the whole book. So I got to design all the photographs and the concepts for the photographs and boss everybody around, and it was a lot of fun to do.
I arrived at the location at the time appointed and put on the clothing that was asked of me, so it was a true collaboration.
That was the definition of a 50-50.
Chapter 3. I came out of the womb in a top hat and tap shoes.
So this is a chapter about our early careers, and how about that form on Mr. Nick Offerman, right? Pretty impressive.
Peter Boyle got nothing on me.
This amazing woman named Shirley Carrata did all the costumes for every look, and she got the whole shebang at a place called like Bill's Tuxedos on Sunset. Crazy, because they're so immaculate. We brought a big mirror into the studio where we were shooting the photos, which were shot by Emily Schur, who's incredible. And so we brought this giant mirror in, and then for this shot and one other that involves the dance, I would hit the pose, and then Nick would stand there and match it exactly. So that's how he got it to look the same. And Nick is a professional dancer. He's
Not a big deal.
yeah, he's known for his. He's in the Nutcracker at the Metropolitan Opera every year. So.
You got your Fred Astaire. You sort of, and then you got Gene Kelly, and then Under the Bed is one of my level. But you know, it takes all kinds.
I mean, he did it great.
Thank you.
Perfect. And you look cute, you look handsome. All right, next one.
Let's stay together.
Okay.
Chapter 4. You're so much of a whore.
As this may suggest, Nick has had sex with like one person, and I've had sex with more than one person. So, let's just leave it at that. We go into more detail in the book, in the book. Nick was somewhat chagrined as the chapter wore on, and I just kept listing name after name after goddamn name.
And that was the end of grade school.
It's a long chapter, and he doesn't do any talking
There's
at
an
all.
all-nighter. Chapter 5. That's why we're in love.
Whoops. Well, this is the chapter on religion, in case you couldn't figure that out. And this is the chapter where Nick can really wax poetic. He has a lot of thoughts.
I have thoughts.
We didn't have as many, but we had fun taking those pictures, even though they're naughty.
We're just brats.
Just,
We're like mischief.
yeah, we like mischief.
Chapter 6. Paper Doll.
This is a chapter on art, music, and fashion. And I don't know, not a lot of people know this about you, honey, I don't think, but Nick's life revolves around fashion.
It's my bag.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen any of his posts on social media with his crazy, like, cutting-edge, like, sawdust covered Carhartts and
Woodshop
Red Wing steel-toed boots. But yeah, the guy is fashion crazy.
Lumbersexual.
legitimately enjoy the musics. They were playing some of my stuff in the pre-show. That was so nice, you guys. Thank you for doing that. I'm gonna plug my band. So I currently have a band called Nancy and Beth.
Nancy and Beth.
I really love so much. And nancyandbeth.com, you can go there and see all the music videos, and I've directed those. We tour, so maybe you can catch us on tour sometime, and we have records and all that stuff. And I love it. Every song's choreographed, and
They're in utter
we
gas.
sing in harmony, and we're in utter gas.
Guaranteed to have your socks knocked off. Chapter 7.
Uh-oh.
It's hard to complain with a mouthful of puss. / couple goals. I love seeing these photos this large. It's really enjoyable.
This chapter was originally going to be about sex, and then our editor said she wanted us to combine it with fighting, or like, you know, do we fight, or how often do we fight, or what do we fight about?
That's not what she said.
Fuck off.
Fuck yourself.
That was just a demonstration of one of our arguments.
I really went off.
Yeah, you really... I was scared. I was really scared for a second there. Yeah, so we combined it, and back in the day, my parents in Oklahoma they used to fence. So they used to wear little outfits like that, a little hard, and I don't know. And then they got a divorce. Okay. Next.
Chapter 8. I would have had such a good speech.
So that's us. There's no photoshopping involved.
I heard some oohs and ahs from House Ryan.
That is I think that's our favorite photograph. We're very proud of it. I know there's a great ballet dancer from Ballet Rusta Monte Carlo here tonight. I'd like to see you after the show, so please come backstage.
Yeah, I want you to check out my entre-chassis. It's not a
He
euphemism.
doesn't even know what that is. Yeah, when I was in, like, I guess 8th grade through high school, I was in a ballet company, and that's a lift in ballet that's called the Fish. And I taught it to Nick, and here it is for your viewing pleasure. And we've done it before, but never in full ballet drag. Nick does wear that makeup in real life. He's not wearing it tonight because he has a little bit of an eye infection, but normally, yes. Normally, yes. And he also wears that tunic with the puffy.
Come on.
People should know. It's time. I can't carry this weight any longer.
I walk around the house performing Petruchio. Chapter 9. Fresh to a fault.
Good. Oh, that's just a sweet one. That's the last chapter. So that's just us being real cute. And let's do then we have the back cover. So you remember the front cover was us buried in the roses, and here's the back cover. Oh, that's still the front cover. And then to refresh your memory, and then here, boom. So you can't see the bottom of it because of this bed, but it goes, it's tall. So it was like 11 feet tall. Big, giant mound of roses, and then we're standing on ladders inside of it.
And we shot all of those that you just saw in one day. It was, we were reminded, our whole crew came to this in LA the other night, and they reminded us that it was a 15-hour day in our defense, but still, it was pretty astonishing.
Actually, I think it was 13, which is horrible, because I know that we went into a little bit of overtime, but not 3 hours. Because we had to pay for it, so I remember that part. And the guy who did all the hair, all those radically different hair looks, and some of them are pieces in wigs, and John Ruggiero, he actually lives here in Palm Springs. And Sandy Ganser did the makeup, and she was amazing, and it was really a fun day.
And she's actually been banned from Palm Desert.
Yeah. Well, she's in jail right now,
Yeah.
but yeah.
She's great with a puff.
Yeah, you don't want to let her near any alcoholic substance, or any
Booze.
narcotics,
Yeah.
basically.
She and Hooch don't mix. So Megan is responsible for all of that aesthetic work. Plus there's a whole section, a sequence of photos of us throughout our lives that she curated, and also many photos of us with the jigsaw puzzles we've completed, which if you dig puzzles, this is downright porn. And you're welcome.
Yeah, oh, and our author photo is funny too. It's another ballet one. So that's that. Now what do we do? Are we gonna read?
Yeah, to give you an idea of what the book feels like, we'll read the introduction.
Throw it really hard. Yeah, that'll be bad.
For your listening pleasure. All right? I'll allow it. Introduction. Blast off.
All right, bum-ba-da-dum, blast off. This is the introduction to our book, carefully and meticulously handcrafted, word by word.
Start your engines.
This book consists of our time-tested insights into a number of topics, mostly in the areas of math and science.
It's riddled with sordid details.
Sordid math details,
That's right.
like pi.
There are specific algorithms we created concerning the relationship between a man and a woman.
The birds and the bees.
The body produces its own lubrication in many instances.
No, wait a minute. This is the intro, dude.
That's physics.
No, too soon. I mean, we do get into lubricants of various kinds, but not until later on in the book. That's not